You want to let the people know right away what you just told me in the back room?
I do. Okay, so I'm Dr. V. Boykin, a former single mom, which actually should be mom unaccompanied by father, right? I think we should say it like that, because when we say single mom, then we're putting it on the moms who are already doing the work and showing up. So that sounds kind of ridiculous to me. Former single mom, stripper, felon, now author, keynote speaker, and directly responsible for creating more personal and professional equity for marginalized communities. That is me. And what I said backstage was, because I said what I said, which is all products are woke. All products are woke. And if it's not true, then you're going to have to explain to me why we have pink and blue razors, because that's a woke product. That's a product that is directly responding to the needs of a particular segment of a population. That is a woke product. The razor being pink makes it woke, and it's blue for not women, I think is how they would like it to be perceived. So there's that. Harley Davidson recently divested all their DEI efforts and programming, yet they are so woke. Like they have motorcycles for women and motorcycles for men, and shirts for women and shirts for men, and gloves for women and gloves for men, and helmets for women and helmets for men. So what is the problem with woke? And if you don't have woke products, who are you selling to? And how are you selling? I was at ASU not too long ago, and I was telling a room full of future marketers, you better be woke, and you better know how to market products that are woke, or you're not going to make as much money for your company. So yeah, but hi.
Remember when marketing was fun? When you had the time to be creative and connect with your customers? Well, with HubSpot, marketing can be fun again. Turn one piece of content into everything you need. Know which prospects are ready to buy right now. And see all your campaign results in one place. Plus, it's easy to use, helping HubSpot customers double their leads in just 12 months. More time to, enjoy marketing again. Visit HubSpot.com to get started for free. What's up, people? We gotta go strong, y'all. We bring only the best on this show. Okay. Dr. V, if y'all have seen any clips of us over the last 6 to 8 months, random interviews during Inbound and other instances, y'all already know who she is. She is legendary. She is GOAT status. And if you don't know about her, you ain't got her book, you aren't in her ecosystem, this is your opportunity to get on your phone and jump into that ecosystem right now. You will not regret it. At the time of this recording, this is Black History Month. I'm all about celebrating our Blackness, our people, all of these things. And I think most times, especially with what we've seen right now with DEI, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show, don't lose your swagger. Don't lose your vibrancy. Don't diminish your light, your melanin, your color, your skin, who you are as a person, because there's a lot of outside noise that maybe not approve. They didn't approve anyway. It didn't improve in silence. They were in silence with it. Now maybe they got a little bolder. That doesn't take away from you and who you are and the mission in the business world, or you as just a person out here living your best life. Just lean in that and sit with that.
It's true. And being undervalued, underrecognized, underappreciated, overquestioned, overqualified, overcommunicative, like these are not things that are new to us. So this situation isn't new. While it's disappointing, it's not new. And one of the things I said last year, and I haven't said it as loud this year because period. What if Black History Month was treated like Employee of the Month? Like you got a special parking spot, you got your picture on the wall, everybody learned all about you, like a special email was sent out. Like, what if that was how we actually approached and celebrated this? What if it was celebrated like it was the Christmas holiday, where people decorated up and down the street and people gathered together to tell the story and commune and celebrate and be kind and promote the people that were being celebrated? I just think it would make such a difference. And we look at this as like this singular event, as opposed to truly celebrating those that are bringing this diversity of excellence and profitability with them.
What's up, digital world? You're listening to the I Digress audio experience with Troy Sandidge. Social media, marketing, storytelling, business, culture, and more. Coming to you in 3, 2, 1.
Which I think is undervalued, especially since science says when you have a diverse workforce, you're looking at a 15 to 35% increase in profits. You put women in the C-suite, you get 21% decrease of the profit gap. How does that reconcile with divesting from DEI? And it is extremely important to me. I want everyone to stop talking about DEI and your support or rejection of it as if you're a good or bad person. It is no longer about being good or bad. And take a moment to breathe that. I don't care, nor do I assess whether you are a good or bad person based on your support or rejection of DEI. I do very much question whether you are a good business person, whether you have good business acumen, whether you make smart business decisions, whether you truly want to see the profitability of your company increase and your attrition costs decrease. I question if you are good at business. And that's the dollars and cents of DEI.
Ooh. I'm going to let the audience breathe and sit with that. I need to sit with that. Just create space, sit with that, embrace that. Because it's true. Do you think someone's a good or bad because they gave you a bonus? Does that mean they're a good boss? Maybe they tried to fight some street credit for you from some troubling times they put you through last year. Who knows? I digress. But for the whole point is to consider these things. One thing we talked about in a conversation we had a while back, and I want to bring it forward in this moment, because I think it's relevant. I think it's absolutely relevant. I think people need to be better at allyship and understand genuinely, how do I be an ally? And again, I'm not even going to talk about people who aren't of color. I'm going to talk about me. As a Black man, I have a lot of struggles and things I've identified with that I know I'm navigating. Very clear. But there's still a level of privilege that I have as a Black man that my sister counterparts do not have. And so I need to be cognizant and aware that they also have even more things to add on and navigate that I may not, even though I'm in the same space and can observe, that is not my full truth. So how do we become better allies? And sometimes it's not about us doing everything. My wife would tell you, sometimes I try to do, I want to fix, I want to help, I want to support. And over the years of our marriage, I know I'm young, but I'm going on 10 years strong. I have learned sometimes it's just good to listen and be present. It's not your space to be the hero. No one asked you to be the hero. But you could be an amazing sidekick. You can be there and create space. So Dr. V, from your perspective, what are things that we can do, us men, brothers in business or in person, to help be genuine allies and advocates for our Black women business partners, and that actually makes sense right now?
Well, y'all could have voted for Kamala since she was qualified.
I did. I got my receipts.
I mean, that's one of the things. I think there's a couple things to unpack. Number one, Black women give so much and do so much and endure so much. And that is not a complaint. That's just a statement. And so as you see us marginalized and sidelined and demified, like it's time to start asking the question, is the beat that good? Is the beat that good that it should come at the cost of our safety and our respect? Because y'all have defended R. Kelly. Y'all have defended the allegations against Sean Combs. And you're like, I don't want to give up the music. Surely I'm worth more than a good bop. Surely the safety of women has got to be worth more than I'm just the bodyguard, so I couldn't say anything, or he would stop me from having a job in the music industry. Okay. At some point, somebody has to say, okay. And so when you see performers that are calling out bad behavior, maybe we give them a second Super Bowl show instead of criticizing. The second part to this is we've got to stop talking about allies like they are only tall, cis, white males. That is not the definition of allyship. Allies are anyone not impacted in the moment. I need to say it again. Anyone not impacted in the moment is in a position to be an ally and has a responsibility to be. That means multiple times during the day, you could be both victim or target and also ally and champion. And we need to be ready to make that switch. We need to be ready to step into those spaces. I need my wonderful male counterparts to stop sending me a Slack message saying it's wrong what's happening in the meeting that we're both in, but you're sending the message privately. This is happening publicly. I need you to step in publicly. I need you to call people into the conversation. I don't need you to question if they're good or bad or what their intention was or whatever. I need you to say, you know what, Mark, I'd like to pause you just for a moment if it's okay, because I know that Candace had a similar point I heard her make in a previous meeting, and I'd like her to add some additional context if that works for her in this moment. That's allyship. Don't send a message like, you see, nobody's calling on Candace, and we know this was Candace's idea. Bring that to the meeting. And then I would say, like, Google is your friend. So if you can Google how to grow an avocado in a Bell Mason jar, you can figure this out too. Use Google or Gemini or whatever AI tool. Like, it's easier than ever to understand how to be an ally, to understand how to make a situation better, to understand the profitability of creating space for diverse thoughts and ideas. It's about money.
Couldn't agree more. I remember you brought me back to a memory. I was working with a client, and he's very headstrong. I'll put it that way. And a female counterpart who, honestly, she literally is the reason I became a marketer. She was brilliant, but poised. And she didn't have a loud voice, but she had a very soft voice, just so full of vibrant wisdom. And you could just sit there and she would just tell you how to do things. And she took the time. That always stuck with me. And I never thought years later we'd have the opportunity to work together again. And so I was just overjoyed to work with her. And the man I mentioned, he would talk to me a certain way and talk to her a different way. Now, I ain't been it as long, but I peeped that really quick. While we were in the meeting, I was, hold on. You didn't cut me off one time when I was sharing my thoughts. Why are you cutting her off? I don't know if you work with her long enough, but that lady's the reason I'm even here.
Right.
You were impressing my expertise and the acumen and all the stuff I've achieved. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't even have been any of those things. Please give her some respect. Don't cut her off. And I always try to mirror it this way. So wait, either you do that to your wife and your daughters, or you don't, and you know what to do. You just choose not to do it. Either way, she's somebody's wife. She's somebody's mother. She's somebody's daughter. And they deserve that same amount of respect. Simple. It shouldn't even be that hard.
So I was in the car. I was in an Uber. I was going to get my hair braided. So my hair was out in its natural state. This is not the natural state. I have receipts from my hairdresser that will tell you I am 3C, 4C on the top. So for y'all that don't know what that is, I refer you back to Google. And
yes, please educate yourselves.
This Uber driver, we were on the on-ramp, accelerated to at least 80 and traveled across 4 lanes of traffic and then traveled back across 4 lanes of traffic. And next thing I know, the cop is pulling us over. Now I have on my sunglasses. I have my hair out. I'll find the picture for you. We could splice it in, right? But I am in my natural state. Cop pulls us over, asks the Uber driver some questions. And I say to the officer, can I get out? He said, hold on one moment. And I'm on the phone with my husband. He was going to hang up. And I'm like, I'm still talking because now I'm terrified. So I say to the officer again, can I get out? And he's like, one moment. And the Uber driver is saying that I was in a rush and he was doing that. I had never said a word to the Uber driver. I'd been on the phone the whole time. And I finally say to the officer, can I get out of the car? And he said, what is it you need? And I said, I need to get out of the car. And so I get out of the car. Why would I want to get out of the car? Because if this guy's going 80 miles an hour across 4 lanes of traffic back and forth, and you are not in front of him, and I say something, am I going to be safe or is he going to take off? Obviously, there's a problem. And I didn't know about the report trouble button, right? So I get out and I say to the officer, I don't know him. I'm not in a rush. I'm an Uber fare customer and I am scared. Right. And this young, happened to be a white male officer, said to me, oh, well, you don't have to stay here. You can go. I said, go where? It's Sunday morning. We are on the off ramp of a major freeway, the 202 here in the Phoenix area of Arizona. And he said, well, you can walk down there and go somewhere. I said, my husband doesn't let me walk down ramps. That's not how I'm treated. He said, well, you can wait in my car if you want. I said, oh, okay. And so I walk over to the front door because I'm not being detained. And he said, oh, I have stuff in my front seat. You can get in the back. And I said, how am I supposed to get to where I'm going? Because this is my Uber. It's Sunday morning at 9 a.m. I am in a commercial area. There is no 7-Eleven on the corner. Not that I could even use a payphone. What do you want? Oh, how far is it that you need to go? I said, 5 minutes. He said, I guess I can take you there. And then we get there and he's like, well, I mean, I'm really sorry. You know, I didn't know. I said, you should be sorry. You should be sorry and you should be embarrassed because I can't imagine you would have your wife or your sister or your child walking down that offer. But it was the callousness with which I was treated, which I'm sure had to do with the fact that I looked like a Black woman that could keep it all together. Why do I say that? Because I truly believe if I had been sobbing in the back seat, it wouldn't have gone that way. Our strength is weaponized against us so we can be interrupted. We can take it. We'll bounce back. We'll bring the fire. We'll bring the sass. We'll bring the entertainment. We'll bring the profitability. That doesn't mean we should be called to do it outside circumstances that you're assigning to your other coworkers and the respect that you're showing them. And yes, my husband, who is a former police officer, did call and talk to internal investigations and did ask him to pull tape and did ask him to do training and did tell him, but I couldn't even get the words out. So happy Black History Month.
For real. But let's sit with that. I tell people, once again, for starters, I was telling people earlier in another conversation, this is my podcast. My skin would tell you, if you're not watching, you're listening, we're Black.
Yeah.
People of color adjacent, if you can't tell. Yes, we're very eloquent in our speech. We know how to position up. We know how to position down. We can do it all and then some. Mm-hmm. But let me remind you, I should be able to talk about whatever I talk about. How is that relevant to business and marketing? Because this is my experience. This is your experience. This is the people who listen and watch their collected experience. So if you understood this truth, sit with it. We got you. If you've never known this truth, sit down. Let me educate you. And then do better. Consider and understand. I always think, Dr. V, you can echo on this too. 33 years of my life on this planet. We all go to Black History Month. And they go through the basics. We go through MLK and Rosa Parks, and they just kind of stop there. George Washington Carver, and then you don't go into. There was a video that's been going viral every year, every so often. There's someone literally walks through every single thing that a Black person created. That if it was gone today, a lot of things, pretty much everything, will be very inconvenient for us right now.
Yes,
because we don't know the full education of our history, or they don't know the full education of our impact. We assume it's given by default, and it's not. We didn't have to shine a light. We didn't have to create those things. We didn't have to build those products. People still don't know Calendly was founded by Black people. Mm-hmm. we didn't have to do these things, but we did it for the betterment of society, for the betterment of ourselves, and because, dare I say, our God-given ability and creative talent made it so.
Yep.
So let's put more respect on it. Don't treat Black History Month, which is the shortest month of the year, as a bore, as a chore, as a PR stunt, as something I just got to get through. And once March 1st hit, I ain't got to learn about it no more. I ain't got to see it no more. No, that's part of the problem.
A big part. And here's the other thing. If you don't understand my experience, you can't sell to me. And if you can't sell to me, you can't be a good marketer. And if you can't market to me to get me to sell, Black women outspend white women, 8-1, 9-1 in terms of hair care products? You need to understand me. You need to know what 4C hair means. You need to know what 3C hair means. You need to know what me being in my natural state, because you will build a terrible marketing campaign. Ask the Jenners when they went out there with the fist up in front of the Black Lives Matter crowd, and then it fell apart. That was bad. Someone wasn't in the room that needed to be there. Oops. You can't market if you don't understand. So it is your professional job to listen to this podcast and understand, because you're going to impact a company's profitability if you don't. The other thing that I need to say very loudly, I am the American dream. That flag is mine. I am what makes America great and will make America great again. And you no longer get to co-opt that. So other than the 1% of the military, of the American population that serves in the military, and thank you so very much, I am the next best patriot out there. I have gotten it up out of the mud. That flag is mine. That flag isn't theirs. Being a patriot isn't theirs. And the fact that I have a critique and a point of view and complaints and required actions of this country is what makes it great, comma, space, again. You don't get to own that. It's time for us to take that back. I'm a patriot. I'm a proud American. We need to fix some things. We need to fix a lot of things now. But you don't get to play bigger patriot than me. I'm the biggest patriot because I say the things that need to be said to make us greater again. We've abdicated.
Dare I say it, only a Black woman could speak so elegantly and position in such a way where you got to sit down and listen. And that's why the show exists what exists. And that's why it matters. Because I've said this a few times in previous years during Black History Month on this show. Do you know that Black people, I'm being specific. I didn't say BIPOC. I didn't say people of color. I'm saying specifically Black people. $3.86 trillion in buying power as a generation. And that was from 3 years ago. It's more today.
Yes.
You're so busy trying to create new markets, new products. How about you just expand how you market to an audience that has the buying potential and the acumen and the ability to actually bring you even more money and value? Just if you, and people say, well, you know, this and that. If you will create commercial experiences that really reflect our experiences, our living truths with our language, our positioning, where we're from, how we talk, how we think, doesn't feel like it's gagged, doesn't for comedy purposes. It feels genuine and authentically us. And see what happens. We probably buy it. Stop saying, oh, they won't buy it. They don't care. No, you didn't take the time to understand. You didn't even take the time to ask. Yeah. You profile people by their names of their businesses and thought they don't got no money. They don't need this thing. They don't need this software. They don't need this product. They don't need our solution. They don't need our service. You didn't ask. You didn't ask.
I've had several sales jobs for several different companies, and the amount of times that the Black barbershop was overlooked as a segment. I'm like, do you know how much money they make? Do you know how many days they operate? Do you know how many customers they have? Do you know how loyal their following is? It is wild to me how we underestimate the buying power and the willingness to spend Black dollars. Right. And we don't just mean on music and shoes. We're overlooked and underestimated, but that's okay because what we did was we created our own marketplaces. And then the conglomerates were like, oh, we want some of that. Yes, we know. I know. And many of us, because of being constantly overlooked, like we're disruptors. I'm a disruptor. And people think that I am assertive or aggressive because my DNA is different from theirs.
Talk about it.
It's not. It's not. It's because I have one shot. And in my one shot, I'm committed to making it better. So I'm going to tell you, I'm compelled to tell you, I have to tell you. I may not get another chance. And the fact that your experience makes you unprepared for direct statements and comments is not a referendum on my delivery. It can't be. It's none of my business what you think of me. It's none of my business how you perceive me. It's my business to deliver it in the best way, at the best time, with the best information, with the best possible modality based on the information I know. But how you receive it, that's not on me too. Because how I receive what you say isn't on you. I don't know. I just told her. Okay, well, I just told you too. What's the problem?
Creators Are Brands, hosted by Tom Boyd, is brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. Creators Are Brands explores how solo creators and storytellers are building brands online, from the mindsets to the tactics to the business side They break down what's working so you can apply that to your own mission and so much more. Listen to Creators Are Brands wherever you get your podcasts. I remember George Floyd, and I remember that moment, it was 8 minutes. I remember that taking me back to when I was a kid, when I had the talk. I remember the first time who my father, who I see as Superman, as himself, as a 7-year-old now, but you've always been Superman to me, went vulnerable with me and shared a moment of, this is what happened to me, son. This happened over here. This is how you navigate it over there. I remember when he created a better life for me to go to school and finally get to work and doing things that maybe he wasn't able to do, how in the beginning, he taught me how to survive. Yeah. But over time, I'm like, I can't just survive anymore, Dad. Yeah. I got to make noise. I got to be, as you said, a disruptor. I have to. This is my truth. This is who I am. If I stay quiet, I'm never going to get that raise. If I stay quiet, I'm never going to get the promotion. If I stay quiet, they're going to keep walking over me and think it's okay. I shouldn't have to go to work and just survive until the next day and the next day. It should be something better for me. I get it. It's sad that we as people of color can say the same thing in the same tone, but for some reason, that person, they have initiative. That person, they're aggressive. They're loud. They're extra. They're doing too much. I don't like that. How? When the tone is the same. The only difference is the skin. What was the difference between what that person just did and said? Even could have been even bolder than me. And I made this change, and I went going to my father, and I was saying, Dad, I know this goes against how you navigated in your career. Yes, but I have to say something. Now, there's been times when Troy said something, you got the dough. And I had to make peace with that. Now, there was other times I said something, they had some respect, and they treated me differently. Or, oh, you can step up. Okay. And then they say, oh, we were just testing you. We were trying to prove things. Don't tell me that, but that's on new country, but I digress. The point I'm saying, there's so many layers of things that we navigate that most people don't know. But there's always somebody who took the risk, that took the stand. I know we appreciate what MLK did and all the people did during the civil rights movement. But please do not think just because you don't see black and white on the drinking fountains no more, on the bathrooms no more, we still don't got instances of it in work environments, in different things. It's just quieter. It looks different. It's framed differently.
It's a cohort of all white people for whatever special program it was. They don't have to post a sign. But here's the deal. If you do stay quiet and if you don't speak up, you know what happens? You have soap dispensers that won't dispense soap to people with brown skin. You have crash test dummies that are male, so that women and smaller sized men are at risk. When we stay quiet, it costs businesses money. So stop being afraid or telling us that we have issues with our attitudes or fix your face and watch your tone. Stop telling us that, because if we do that, y'all make expensive mistakes without us. Expensive mistakes. Every year of my professional career, I've been told to either watch my tone or fix my face. It is February and I've already been told about my tone. And I wasn't even talking. I hadn't even said anything. I hadn't even said a word. I was like, I haven't said anything. How do you mean? But what is it about my tone? Is it the disappointment? Is it the disgust? Why can't my face look like you said something crazy when you just said something crazy? And the problem and privilege of my physical appearance is they don't always see me in the room. Now, that's a privilege. I'm palatable. They'll let me in the room until I speak. But when I hear what they say, and it can be something as simple as, well, you know how they're going to get if we put a Christmas tree in the middle of the entryway. Yeah, not everybody celebrates Christmas. And as somebody that's been othered, I'm going to speak up and say that to stop you from getting sued. You're welcome. But that welcome never comes. You become that person. I'll never forget, I had a senior manager come back years later and apologize to me because they hadn't picked me for a management position because they didn't think I would fit in. And after the George Floyd incident, they said, we probably needed someone that didn't fit in. And I was very happy to massage their guilt away. And I know they didn't mean it, but you're not responsible for your intent. You're responsible for your impact. So all of those young white managers that like to go out and get drunk together, no, I didn't fit in. But you would have been so much better if you had made room for me. Because all y'all, you wouldn't have had an entire management team that showed up hungover the next day. You would have had one manager that was fully functional and ready to go.
And we make some of the best managers, by the way, y'all, because we've only had that one shot.
That's right.
We don't know if we're going to get a second chance. And if we do, thank the Lord. But in most cases, we're under a microscope, and any little thing, any little convenience that doesn't align with what you think we should be doing could be weaponized against us. And for what? Well, we've seen people with done way more, given far more grace. For whatever reason, we to this day, we don't know.
The only people underperforming can't be brown and black people. The only people angry at work can't be brown and black people. The only people that need to fix their face or watch their tone can't be brown or black people. Like it's statistically impossible and also highly improbable. But I think like the larger conversation, because there's going to be people that have hit their limit on their ability to absorb the criticism that they will hear in this. I understand. Let me help you out. Do you like money? If yes, Joy, like I do. If yes, hire us.
Yes.
We're afraid to be broke again.
Yes.
We're afraid not to create generational wealth. We're afraid to fail. Weaponize that instead of all the other silliness. Because at the end of the day, we increase profitability by 15 to 35%. It's science. Woke products sell more. You only sell one type of razor. You can't charge more for another type of razor. Make it pink, make it blue. Make something for me. I'll buy it. You know how much ugly stuff I bought from the front of Target during Pride or Black History Month or Hispanic Heritage Month or AAPI? Like, I'm buying it to prove a point. A marketer's dream. You got my number.
People don't get it. People don't get it. And for those who've been enjoying this conversation, I feel like some of this is therapy. So if you needed a therapy session for free, here we are. But you will have to pay Dr. V later if you get off the site. But hey, right now in this moment, I feel like we're having therapy. I mean, get your coffee, get your tea, relax with us for a minute because we're speaking real stuff. Yeah. And I'm going to say this too, because I know I can't on my show, but I can in this moment with you. For some people who may have been listening to this podcast for a long time, you might have noticed my demeanor change, my vibe, my energy. I'm more relaxed. Troy's talking a certain, maybe his deeper voice, seem more comfortable instead of this high pitch, high marking group.
Hey, Troy. Hey.
Exactly. Because I'm in my comfort safe space. I know it's a safe space. I know Dr. V is going to keep it real, keep it 100, and we're just going to keep it. And could you imagine for those who are listening and watching and who are of similar descent and ethnicity and understand what I'm about to go with, wouldn't it be nice if we could just be in a safe space all day long? Mm-hmm. Not having to worry about and be calculated on based off the trajectory of colors in the room. I'm going to show up this way. Mm-hmm. Based off how this happens or that happens, my voice has to go up or down. Or maybe I don't even say nothing. I communicate non-verbally because I'm just trying to get through this moment. You know how taxating and exhausting that is every meeting, whether in person or Zoom. I got to show up and think, how many ways can I make sure I control the perception to my benefit without losing myself? Mm-hmm. Now, imagine if you created a genuine culture where your top performers don't got to even, that's 35, 40% of our mental energy before the meeting even starts. Or while the meeting is happening, or while we're speaking, or presenting, or client facing, or troubleshooting, or just doing our job. We have to think about these things. Imagine if that headspace was turned down and we could really focus on our job even more. You would make more money naturally because we wouldn't have to think about, do I need to get the hair today? Can I just go my normal self today and not be judged? Not want people want to touch my hair or ask me some dumb questions about certain things and wasting my time. What? Are you kidding me right now? It would be wonders. And yet, for some reason, we're still in 2025 and we are still on diversity, equity, inclusion, belongingness, and culture 101. Honestly, I feel like we went back a step. I feel like we went to pre-cal when it comes to this stuff and not moving forward. And I advise you, if you're an executive, you're a leader of any type, to maybe, though it may be uncomfortable, maybe that's not your living truth, to sit with what we're talking about here and maybe consider, I can do better. I can be a better listener. If you get nothing else from this moment, instead of just whatever, just think, I can do better. Yep. I need to consider more. And that's a start. We'll take the wins so we can get them, y'all. We'll take the wins.
However we can get it, we'll keep it. And there's actual science behind what belonging does in the workplace. Like there's science that it increases productivity. It's an 88% increase in productivity when you feel you belong. There's a 76% increase in productivity when you feel you're being treated with fairness and respect. You actually increase your communication by 64%. Attrition goes down. You work to 3.5% of your full potential when you feel you belong. When you feel you belong, individual performance goes up by 70%. Team performance goes up by 50%. Organizational performance goes up by 48%. American University, Washington, D.C., 2024. This is science. So you make us feel like you belong, not because you're a good person. I don't care. I don't have a referendum on whether you're good or bad. Do it because you like money. You like profitability. That's the why.
What?
That's the why. And so if we know these things to be true and self-evident and science, why doesn't it happen more? And my working theory is it's like trying to explain sunlight to someone who's visually impaired. If you haven't experienced it, it's not my fault that you don't notice how hard it is to explain it and or do it. Right. We are both sight gifted people or sight able people. I don't think about the steps that it takes to see you right now. It's second nature. Until I submerge myself in a community of people that are not sighted, do I understand what it means and doesn't mean to have sight? There's just not enough experience. There's just not enough experience. Again, Google is your friend. If you ever wanted to know where you fall on the scale of awareness, just close your eyes and imagine you are in a room filled with people that are not of your ethnicity, color, or race. Now, nobody's going to know the answer to this, but ask yourself, how do you feel? And if you say, oh, I feel great, then imagine now you're standing outside and not in the room that you imagined yourself in. Because I'm pretty sure you imagined yourself in a room. So now you're not in a room. Now imagine yourself, you're on a sidewalk. Now you imagine yourself on a sidewalk and it's dusk. Now imagine you're on a sidewalk and it's nighttime. How do you feel? And if you say that you feel totally comfortable, then imagine yourself at work. And if it doesn't reflect that same demographic, ask yourself why. Because you feel comfortable. So then don't you feel uncomfortable when it's not that way? It's nothing for me to walk into a room that has 10 white colleagues in it. That's called every day. It is shocking and jarring when I walk into a room and there's 10 Black colleagues. Do the exercise with yourself. If you're a manager, why is your team that way? Why don't you want more profitability? Why do you want to stumble over hand sanitizers that won't dispense and airbags that kill people and soda commercials that miss the mark? Why? Foolish business person.
Brings me back to, I had just finished the keynote and it was late. Just everybody was having fun. I wasn't grabbing around you and everything. And then I just walked out of that building. I won't name the building. I went around the corner. And immediately, and to be clear, just I don't have to tell you this, but to be clear, I had a full suit on. I wasn't in a hoodie, full suit and tie and shiny shoes, no coat. So you saw what I had on. Walked around the corner and immediately someone walking who wasn't of my color is spooked and immediately walks to the other side of the sidewalk. I am presenting myself smiling. I don't have my hands in my pockets. I'm walking up straight. All the things with the suit, y'all.
All the things. Still
experience that. Mm-hmm. Still have to be conscious of that. Mm-hmm. And I remember then there's another group of people walked right out. No issue. I remember we went to they asked me, did you want to go to this bar and talk and all this stuff? And I don't drink, but I was like, I always go and socialize. And at this time and that vibe, I was like, no, I'm going to go back to my room.
Right.
Because they didn't understand. It doesn't matter what I did just out there. Yes. I'm the reason y'all came because they paid me to be the keynote speaker there.
Yes.
So y'all done watch me for 90 minutes. I done sweated and like I'm preaching or something out here. Get out and immediately I'm humbled by my reality and my truth.
That's not humbled. That's not humbled. Immediately you're smacked with what doesn't make America great. You're not humbled because you weren't being arrogant.
Yes.
We think of it as if we have some penance to pay. I reject that categorically. You were disrespected. You were underappreciated. You were marginalized. You were singled out. You were made to feel other than. You weren't humbled. There was nothing arrogant about you, just existing in your skin. And look, this isn't a bash what they consider the global majority, but it's not the global majority. It might be the majority in America, and that's shifting as well. It's about understanding how what you do preoccupies our mind. Because here's what we're not talking about. We're not talking about the stock market. We're not talking about how to get promoted. We're not talking about strategies for increasing business leads. We're talking about our experiences. Why? Because they keep getting created. I'd love to not talk about race. What a gift that would be. In fact, there was a period that I was with a white male for 10 years. 10 years. And after he said to me, I never wanted to be married to someone who was this Black or this liberal, I thought to myself, the privilege. I was so intoxicated by their privilege. They got together and hardly ever talked about race. They didn't see race. They didn't have to. The neighborhood I'm in now, I mean, when we moved in, they brought us brownies and cookies and oakley dokley. I mean, it's a great place. Everything is okay here. It is. I understand why you feel it's okay. The problem is I can't send my son to the store when he comes to visit in a hoodie for fear he might not come home. You'll say I'm being dramatic, but how many examples do we now have? So it is still happening, and we're not creating it, and we're not separating ourselves. We're actually doing the work to make America great, space again.
Period. Mm-hmm. Dr. V, I want to switch gears because I'm sure we talked about this a little bit before, but I'm sure there's been moments where people have literally marveled at your story and marveled at your presence and your poise and, dare I say, your vibes and your energy. Because sometimes you could just be there and some people just got that. They have that magnetism. They have that energy about themselves where I don't know you yet, but I want to. Or you seem like someone I should know. Or, everybody else is looking, I'm like, okay, clearly I need to get on the bandwagon and make sure the next time I see this person, because I got to come correct next time. Done the deep work. I've navigated this. A lot of people who listen and watch are currently navigating is how do you get comfortable with standing on your own story? Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean everyone has to be very bold and share all your tea about your whole life to everyone who all to see. But there is some truth in when you can stand on your story and be confident in all the layers of who you are and bring that all together to show up as your best self, that you're comfortable, that you love, that you adore, that you want to show up as. I'm sure people want to know, how do we get started on that journey? And what did that look like for you and your becoming, if you will, and who you are now?
Oh, well, that was a good book. So I'm 51. I only started telling the truth at 48. So I don't know if I need a medal. And I also had 4 degrees. And I had someone that truly supported me and said, no matter what you say, I got you. And I think you are incredible. See, that's that support, that Black love, that acceptance, that spouse that's there for you. That makes a difference. And believe you me, telling a former police officer and someone that has served in the military, week 2, date 5, I got to tell you something. It was uncomfortable. And his response, I'm like, hey, I need to tell you, I used to be a stripper. He's like, yesterday? Today? I was like, no, it's been about 20 years. Oh, okay. Do you have any questions? No. Oh, okay. I'm also a felon. Oh, okay. Yesterday? Not that it matters is the exact quote. I said, no, it's 2004. Oh, okay. Wow. How'd you get to, wow. It's incredible you are where you are. When that's the response, from that place, all things feel much more possible. But I hid it. I mentioned I was in a relationship for 10 years. None of the friends knew. None of the family knew. The only time it was discussed is when he got drunk and wanted to scream it. So to directly answer your question, you don't stand on your truth and you don't tell your story until you have enough social capital to do it. I am doing it so you don't have to. Please don't go to work tomorrow and tell the whole world you were a felon. You might lose your job and I need you to be employed. And before I discussed it publicly, I went to my manager. I went to our legal counsel. I asked, can I say this? It's incredible that I had the opportunity to say this to 2 Black individuals because it did make it more comfortable. But I don't know if the answer would have been different had it been white individuals. It just made it easier for me, right? And my bias. But if you're going to have a population that's 8 times more likely to be incarcerated, there are costs with telling your truth. There are organizations I want to join. I want to be a part of their mission. And while there is a cis white male president, I still can't join those organizations or get a job at a gas station or live in that apartment building. I don't know why he can be president and I can't join a philanthropic organization. Oh, wait, I do, because the same rules don't apply. But my nightmare of hiding the truth became more painful than the potential consequences of not telling it. And I have a limited time left on this earth. I have a limited time and an even smaller window where I'm going to be sane and lucid. And if me telling the truth means you don't have to, or makes it more comfortable for you, it will have been worth it. And that's why I say it. I say it because I added so many things to the bad category: food stamps, multiple marriages. I had children out of wedlock. And then I say, well, I did get married to all the 2 people I had babies by. I don't know why I have to say that, because they were unmarried with children just like I was. But I want things in the positive column. I have that debt. I have to leave it better. I have to leave it better than I found it.
Well, we appreciate your sacrifice. We appreciate what you've done. I'm going to say it for somebody.
I want people to not be embarrassed by their mothers or their aunts or their cousins or their fathers or their brothers who have gone through things and have labels attached to them that are unsavory. Your mother made that decision because she did the best she could in the moment that she was in, with the information and options that she had, as did everyone else in your family. So if you're looking for someone who is a former stripper and felon that shows up in pearls and a button-up with 4 degrees, here's your new example. Check your bias.
Check it.
Yeah.
And you're someone who's so accomplished with 4 degrees, a book out, a book on the way, and a plethora of other things, and still have to navigate certain things a certain way because of certain people and situations. And make it make sense.
And still have companies that won't hire me.
Right.
Jobs I cannot pump your gas. And another thing, I always ask this question. This is off a little, but I find that women have more of a problem with me being a former stripper than a felon. Yet they're hanging on their husband's arm so proud. So proud. But he's the one that came to the strip club. Educated men with degrees are the ones that actually frequent strip clubs at a higher rate. True stories, statistics. It's true. You'll see it. It's in the book. It's true. Why are you so proud of him, but won't wave at me on the street? Still, to this day, I hand you my book. You read that back. You're like, oh, or you offer me forgiveness that I didn't ask for. I'm not apologizing. I'm not embarrassed, and I'm not ashamed.
How many people are dealing with things that, if they were made public, I don't understand why certain things by certain people, other people. I mean, we literally experience this a lot. I won't get into religious organizations or other folk and political organizations who have closets of things, and are still celebrated in society. No one bring it up. It's an afterthought. It's an amendment, and moment, and just whatever. It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be, and you can't over-incarcerate us, which disenfranchises us, and then also expect us to be quiet about it to not create change. And if there's one good thing that could potentially come out of this presidency, this is the only thing, is that there may be more room for those in a community that are over-sentenced and over-policed to truly rejoin society. Because 20 years later, I should be able to rent an apartment wherever I want. I should be able to work wherever I want, wherever I'm qualified to work. And my speaking out about it shouldn't preclude me from getting any job or being part of any opportunity, especially when all of y'all are listening to music talking about beating and torturing and killing and all of those things. You bop with that, but you're afraid to hire me? Stop it. Stop.
Maybe we got to deliver these things with a really dope beat track, and maybe
there you go.
It get through. We got to call Mustard over here and help us drop a whole diss track for all this injustice out here, and let's see what happens. Maybe, just maybe then, because they can bop to it now, they hear what you got to say. Get it done.
They need to read my book. Check in on their bias. Your book. Fix Your Face and Watch Your Tone. Women Know What's Needed. The next book that's coming up is Fix Your Face, Watch Your Tone. Hard Lessons, Simple Truths.
I'm excited for it.
They don't want to hear it.
Ready.
They're not ready, but that's when I like to talk about it. And unfortunately, everything in the book is true. And that is the most unfortunate part.
The links for all of that are also in the show notes, y'all. So click on the links, buy the book, subscribe, go follow her on LinkedIn, go visit her website, watch her YouTube channel.
Thank you.
She's doing the thing. She's doing the work, y'all. And if you're people, and I'll say this too, because I know I got a strong group of people of color professionals who are watching and listening for this show. Many of you who know Dr. V, I hope you enjoyed this podcast experience. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you support. For those who don't know Dr. V until this moment, I hope you go out there and I hope you support. You educate yourself. You sit with it. And it's like, maybe you got to rewatch it a few times. Maybe you got to look at some words here and there and sit with it. Maybe you need to play some music and just calm down, because there's going to be a lot of ups and downs in this episode.
Yeah.
But it was necessary. And I hope by the end of this, you see why I bring people like Dr. V on the show and why these conversations are relevant, not just in business, but in culture and in life. Because if you treat us right, that just brings you more dollars. This is a profitability situation.
Yes.
Stop looking at what you have to give up, or what you have to learn, or new words you have to use, or you mean to tell me if all I have to do to add a few more zeros is that it should be an easy transition, an easy thing to do. And if you're someone who's looking for a speaker, if you're looking for someone to help, maybe shake up your organization a little bit, give you some. I'm just trying to make sure y'all know she's available. Now, I don't know her rates. Y'all got to talk and make sure y'all get them digits right. But she's available. So do what y'all need to do. Y'all know how to do these things. It ain't that hard. She is not hard to find. Very easy. So if you are coming off of Black History Month and you like, you know what, I need to bring in some new people for the rest of the year, because you should do that. And I want to create space for those who listened. And if I can hear the Black cheers in the background every time. I can hear it low key. We ain't doing it live, but I can hear it. And you were just so excited. Just enjoy. There's going to be more of this, and follow the journey. I think sometimes I was so excited about this episode because I didn't know what to expect, but I knew what to expect. And I knew for a lot of people, like, Troy is having too much fun. Troy is too comfortable. Well, honey, this is how we are when we have the safe space. Yeah. And this is how we are when we know we got someone who gets it, is going to speak the truth and hold no breadcrumbs. It's going to be all there. I thank you for coming on the show and sharing your truth. And I appreciate you for our side conversations, for what you, and the thing, and I'll say this too, I'll stop giving you flowers. Sometimes, because you don't see the direct impact, we think it isn't worth it. Yeah. When in reality, there's so many indirect touch points that if you could just take a wider view of the vantage point, you'd be like, I didn't know it directly, but indirectly, I just changed the whole generation to how they see Black women. I don't know this just yet, but I just changed a whole lot of people who probably wouldn't have considered someone, but they did because they saw me. I just encouraged a mother who had to maybe endure their child becoming a felon and thinking that's it for them. And seeing, well, look what Dr. V became. Look what she's becoming. Look the impact she's making. Look at the choices she's doing. Look at the things she's giving back. And it's like, wow, if she can do that. See, that's the thing. When you can see someone do it, oh, there's hope for me. There's a path for me. I ain't saying it's an easy path, but there's a path. We appreciate you for everything you've done. Whether you've gotten your flowers, we're going to make sure you get more flowers. We thank you. And I think everybody should, every once in a while, go to your black sister, your black brother, and pour life into. So I see you. I'm thankful for you. Whether they be like, no, I'm deflected. No, I want you to sit in the uncomfortability of me giving you your flowers and thank you for being the champion and the life that you are, because we need people like you on this earth doing the deep work when other people couldn't. They was too afraid to do it. And you took on the mantle and said, I choose me. I'll do it. So we thank you.
Well, thank you for that. You know, one thing that's really important to me is to remain approachable. So if you see me out, say hi. If you need something, hit me up on LinkedIn. The only people I don't respond to on LinkedIn, I respond to every single person that's not trying to sell me something every single time. You know, if you read the book, tell me what you think. Tell me what you feel. I want to know. It matters to me. You know, I am not removed in some ivory tower. You know, I want to know.
Any last words you want to say?
Yeah. For all of us listening and all of us out there, the next time they tell you to fix your face or watch your tone, tell them you don't have to. Dr. V said so. But don't lose your job.
Come on with it. And with that, y'all, another episode is complete. But I digress. Thank y'all for listening, and we'll see y'all next time.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap. We hope you enjoyed this episode of I Digress. What was your takeaway? Care to share your thoughts and tag Troy on social media? You can find him on all platforms at Find Troy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review or comment for this episode from wherever you're listening. Looking for a marketing strategist to build the structure, strategies, and systems you need to get the success you want and the ROI you desire in your business? Book a discovery call to talk with Troy at findtroy.com. And as Troy's philosophy goes, imagination is the engine, content is the fuel, social media is the highway, marketing is the roadmap, sales is the destination, culture is the GPS. Thanks for listening.